All right, so let's create a new one. Perfect. So to be able to add a new item, I think the best course of action here is that we're basically going to have an input form where you're going to be able to put the title and description and then like submit that. And it will go ahead and create the new task in whatever the existing selected list was when you hit N. So to do that, that means that we're going to need a completely new view, a new screen, if you'd like, that pops up and allows us to do that. We'll go ahead and create a variable for managing multiple models. So we'll just do model management, I guess. Okay. And then we'll go ahead, I hit caps key, so everything broke. Okay. So then we'll go ahead and just create a var for models, and that is just going to be a list of t.models. And in here, we're going to have our form and our main model. So what that means is that we're also going to have to update, so m is equal to new, and we're going to have to initialize models as well. So that's going to be a thing. We're going to go to our update. Let's go to create a new case for basically when they hit N, what's going to happen. What's going to happen when they hit N is that we are going to save the state of the current models to the current model to the array of models. So we'll go models and we'll make, I should probably have another enum for which model we are focused on. Let's do that. Model management, and we'll just do a const, and we'll have we can use status. It's probably fine. And let's do, actually, let's do main and make that an iota. And we'll do input, we'll do the form. Okay, perfect. So now what's going to happen is when we do N, we're going to make sure that models main is equal to M. So basically like save the state of the current model. I think I need to change that actually. Main model. Or we can just say, change it to model, I guess. And I gotta update this because main is taken. Form is unused, that's fine. Okay, cool. So go ahead and do that, and then we will return models form, comma nil, because we don't need to pass anything. We don't need to like pass the message or anything like that. Actually, what we probably should do is just call the update and pass nothing. So then it will render the view as well. And let's create that form model as well. So I'm going to just add that to the bottom of the function here, or the file. We'll go ahead and do form model. All right. So we'll do type form struct, and it will probably have an input, which will be an input.model, and it will have text input.model, and then it will also have a I can make that a title field. I can make this one a description, and that will be a text area dot model. And let's make this a bubble tea model. Let's make it satisfy that interface. So we'll go ahead and do a function for, I guess we can just do m form. So it's basically model. So you know it's model. And here we'll just do init, and that will return a t-dot command. We don't have anything that we need it to do on startup, so we'll just make that return nil. We'll have a function that also is our update, and that will have a message, t-dot message, that gets passed in, and it needs to return a t.model and a t.command. And we'll go ahead and just return m comma nil right now. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll go ahead and do our final one that we need to satisfy the interface, which is view, and that one will return a string. And for now, we'll just return nothing. Looks good. Okay, there we go. I can type. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. We also need something to create a new form. So let's create a function for that. So let's do new form, and we'll go ahead and return a pointer to the form. So here we can just return form, and we will make the title form.title. None of that stuff actually, it needs to be initialized first anyway. So I think what we might actually need to do is just do form is equal to form, and then we'll want to do form.title is equal to a text input.new. We'll make form.description equal to text area.new, and then we will return form. And we also want to make sure that we focus the title, like that's going to be the first field that gets focused. So we'll go ahead and do form.title.focus. Perfect. All right, looks good to me. And that will get used in our main method. So here we are actually going to do, we'll assign models. So we'll do models is equal to an array of t.model, and we're going to make it, it's going to be new, and it's going to be a new form. Okay, and then m, we can just make m equal to models main, what did I call it? Model? There we go. And that should fix that. So basically it will always open with our main model as the default. And then let's go ahead and update the update function. So let's do a switch on the kind of message that we get. So the message is equal to message.type. And then let's look at the key presses. So key message, we are basically going to do, we got to make sure that we can quit. Got to make sure that's the case. And I don't know why I did that format here. Okay, case, yes. Yes, okay, cool. So then we'll just do a if, message.string is equal to control C. And I think I actually, yeah, you know what? I can actually do a switch on message.string. Let's do that instead. So it's a little bit cleaner. It matches what we've already been doing. All right, so we'll change this to switch. And then what we will do is we'll go ahead and do case for Q and control C. Control C and Q. And basically if that's pressed, we are going to return m comma t.quit. And I can, yeah, do that. And then case, we'll do enter. And so the thing is like, we're probably going to want to hit enter when we've typed in the title. We're probably going to want to hit enter when we typed in the description. If title, m.title, .focused. There we go. Okay, so that returns a Boolean. So if the title is focused, then let's actually no longer focus on the title. So we'll use the blur method. We'll go ahead and focus the description now. .focus. And then we will return m comma text area .blank, which basically moves your cursor, like makes it so that you can start typing in it. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then let's do else. So basically when they are hitting enter and you've just finished filling in the description, we're actually going to switch it back to the previous model. So let's do the same thing that we did for the other model, where we basically are going to make sure that the models array is updated with the current state of our model. And then we will switch back to the other model that we're working with. And m.new task. M.new task. We are going to want to create a new task, so we will want a command to satisfy that. And then we also want to make sure that all of our UI components are getting updated properly. So for the update, we haven't really returned much outside of like the special cases. So what we want to make sure is that all of the key presses are being registered with either the title or the description, depending on which one is focused. So we'll go ahead and do that. So the title, let's check if it's focused, same way we did before. And if the title is focused, then we're going to return, we're basically going to update the title and make sure that it is updating properly, getting all the key presses and all of that good stuff. Update, and let's send it the message. And then we're going to return our current model and the command. That is undefined, so that's okay. We'll fix that. And then otherwise, we've only got one other component that we could be focused on. So let's do m.description, comma commands is equal to m.description.update with the message. And then we'll go ahead and return the model and the command. And of course, that is undefined. So let's go up to the top of our update and just declare that variable. Command is equal to a t.commands. So then new task, of course, is still undefined. That is a helper. We'll go ahead and do that up here. So let's do func for, I guess for form. Does it need to belong to form? I think it might. We'll see. Let's just do new task, and it will return a t.message so that we can use it as a command that we can return from update. And basically what we're going to try and do here is create a new task. So I got to double check. Oh, actually, create a new task. I got to double check what the requirements are for a new task. So I'm going to go ahead and look at our structure and see do we have anything? We don't have a new task yet. So we got to add a function for a new task. New task, and it will return a pointer to a task. And we'll go ahead and just return a task. The status, we'll say the default is actually new task. We'll want to see, because we'll want it to be the focused field. So that might be something that we have to bring in to the function, is the status, and it'll be a type status. And then we will want the title and description as well getting passed in. So we need the title and we need the description, and both are strings. So we'll go ahead and set title to title. We'll set description to description, and status to status. Oops, status. Title, there we go. Okay, don't yell at me. New task, wait, redeclared. What? Oh, yeah, that's fine. We can change that to, we'll change the other one to create task. That's fine. This one, we'll change it to create task. And basically what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to have a new task, and we're going to need to pass in the status. So in order to do that, we're going to have to make sure that basically when N is pressed, we'll grab the current focused like index. So that one we're going to have to pass in that information for. Maybe I'll make that like focused, so it's a little bit more clear, I guess. Make the status will be, actually, we can do focused, we can do title will be, I think we will need the form. We will need the form because we're going to need to know the information, the values from both the title and the text area, the description. So we'll do m.title.value, and then we'll do m.description.value. So that basically will grab it from there. Let's return a task. A t.message, the t messages, if you haven't seen any of our tutorials already for Bubble T regarding messages and commands and how you can work with them, I highly, highly recommend checking that out in our documentation. So basically it's on our GitHub repo. There is a tutorials folder there that you can check out. I will link it in the description of the video as well for easy access. But basically a t.message is any type. It doesn't have to follow any kind of anything. It's just like any kind of data structure, any kind of type. So we're going to go ahead and return a task, and then we'll handle that in our main model. So it looks like we are pretty happy here. We do need to add another, let's add a focused status field. So we can keep track of like which list is focused. So we'll go ahead and we will have to add a focused status to the new form as well. Actually, wait, not to the new form. That's just a task that we need that. But yeah, no, we actually will need that because we got to pass it. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's fine. Okay, create task. We'll need a focused status. And then of course, because we've now added that to the form itself, we don't actually need it. We don't actually need it there. This will be m.focused. Okay, that's a lot. So we'll go ahead and go back to our case n. Okay, and we'll create that, send it an update. Here we need to add, go focused. And then let's go ahead and we will make it so we switch models. Basically when we hit enter and it's focused on the description, it will go ahead and create a new task. So here we have it named the wrong thing. So we want to make that create task. Go ahead and add create tasks so that basically when we want to switch back to our previous model, we switch back to that model and then we want it to finish processing the create task command. And basically what's happening there, let's see, return new task. I do believe this is the kind of constructor for a new task. So basically what that means in this case is create task is returning a t.message, new task returns type task. I should be able to handle the task in the main model, handle it when it happens, and add it to the correct list. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll check a case for tasks. So case task, and we're gonna make sure that that's out of the switch for the string. All right, so if it's a task, let's go ahead and add it to one of the lists, the current focused list. So let's return, and we want to add it right away before anything else, before anything else gets handled so that it will re-render right away. So let's go ahead and do return the main model, and then we'll add a command here for, we'll do task, here we'll make, so task is going to be equal to the message, because we know that the message is type task. And then here we'll grab the status, which is the current, or I believe that's focused. Yeah. We'll grab whatever's focused, we'll insert it in the right spot there. So we'll grab all the lists, check for wherever the end of the focus list is by getting the entire length of the items and inserting it at the end of that. And then we'll tell it what we want to insert, which is task. That's what we want to insert. So I can't remember if I did focus or if I did status. Okay, so it is status. All right. Status. There we go. Okay. Don't need to initialize. We could do new form and just make it to do as a default, but I don't think we don't need to initialize it right away. We'll figure that out after. I'll show you what I mean by that. Because right now we are using the example of basically working with like a list of models, so that way you could like switch back and forth between different models and maintain state. We have not written anything for the view for the form yet. So that's why we're getting that error. Well, doesn't that make sense? Okay, let's go ahead and change that. So we are going to join vertical because I always mess that up. All right, so then I'll hit N, and now we've got, this is a little bit nicer of a layout. So we'll go ahead and we can add placeholder text and stuff like that as well if you'd like. Maybe let's say like upgrade RAM. And then maybe, so when we hit enter, now it switches the focus to the text area. And then here we'll go ahead and say, 16 gigabytes. And now let's see, it did not get added. So it looks like I need to change how it's being handled because it looks like it's not receiving that task as a message. So it's not handling it properly. So let me double check what's going on there. Let's bring it back to the foreground. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna change it because I wanna make this task accessible to because basically it's struggling right now because it's saying, okay, new task is something that's going to be returned by this command and get handled, but this is a function. So how about instead we just run new task and we pass that information upstream with a message. So we'll go ahead and just do task is equal to new task, and then we'll return task. And then now a task will be type task. All right, so let's try one that's not to do. Let's hit N. Let's go buy more RAM, say 16 gigabytes, and hit enter. Not working. Okay. All right, so because we're looking for a type task in our switch case, I'm gonna change this to it not being a pointer. So go ahead and just delete the entire thing. No, we'll go ahead and just delete the asterisk and the ampersand. And now I think that should work. So I think it's create task, and now it should return t.message. And just to make sure, I'm definitely calling it. It's happening. All right, so that's running. So let's go ahead and check it out and try it again. After changing the type, we just remove the pointer. All right, so let's create a new one. Perfect. So there you go. Now we can see it. That added to do. Let's check if one will add to a different focus list. Go ahead. This is, I don't like that it's repeating the same information. So what I think is actually a better solution in this case, as you saw, we have this models. So we've got a globally defined models right here. In this case, the form, we don't actually need to save state on the form, on that model. So what I actually don't think that we need this models list. I'm gonna keep it just to get an idea of like how you would manage multiple models where you do wanna maintain their state. But in this case, I'm okay to also just recreate a new form whenever they want to add a task. So in this case, I'll just keep the list in there, but we will go ahead and have it create a new form model every time instead of just reusing the existing one. So let's go ahead, enter and move to next. Where's the other? Wait, oh, it's N, right? I totally know my code. I swear. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll actually do models form, and we'll say that this is equal to new form. And in this case, it's going to be m.focused. And so this will also solve a bug that I wasn't able to show you. With our current solution, because it was reusing the same form model, it was actually always going to be adding to the to-do list, because every single time it's still it hasn't changed. We haven't updated what's focused. So this time, this should work. TM. First try, let's see. All right, let's try in progress first. Let's say drink hot chocolate. Because yum. Perfect. So as you can see, we're able to add a new task to the current list, and we can do whatever we want with that, move it back and forth, all that good stuff. This is kind of like the minimum working version of this. I think that with having implemented the insert, we can also quite easily implement the delete. I will leave that to a future video, or maybe as like homework. I'll make sure that I upload this code. I will provide a link to the source code in the description. I hope this video is helpful for you. I will, while I'm editing, see if there's any like gaps. This was a really long one to record, so I need to make sure that it's actually like semi-seamless and makes sense. But I hope that this helps in general with your understanding of bubble tea and being able to return different models based on what it is that you want to see, and how you can work with these models. At the end of the day, we're just printing strings in the terminal, so don't let it get you down, okay? And again, I highly recommend checking out our tutorials if you're getting started with bubble tea and you don't know where to start. I will be doing a video on like basically walking you through those tutorials, because it's so valuable. It was one thing I didn't know existed myself until one of my coworkers was like, hey, have you tried this? Because I was struggling with something pretty basic with the commands, and I just could not figure it out for the life of me. And then I saw those tutorials and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just making way more sense. I was like, I get the Elm architecture now. I know what's going on. I'm understanding it. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this video, if you liked the tutorial style. I had fun filming it, even though it was a pretty big lift. As you can see, this is a new bunny, new me, new day. Yeah, it took a few days to get this just like filmed even. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you found value in it. Definitely give us feedback in the comments, and look forward to hearing from you. Peace out.